Alright guys, I want to give you a quick update on the Microaces DR1 build, just where things are. I was doing this just on the live streams, but after the last live stream where the quality was just awful, I realized I have to stop live streaming until I can get that Wi-Fi better. And I think Rob was the one who said it looked like Greyhound bus station Wi-Fi, which is probably not fair to Greyhound bus stations, to be honest, but long story short, I did some investigating. I realized our plan is really ancient, our router is ancient, and there's much better options now, so I'm going to update all that stuff, and it's not going to happen until next week. So in the meantime, there won't be any live streams, but I wanted to give you guys a quick update on the Microaces DR1 and where things are. I think last time the fuselage was just done, but I hadn't sheeted it yet with this one piece. And in this whole build, there's lots of little steps that you do, but probably the biggest single step is wrapping this sheet around the fuselage. And I'll show you guys real quick again. This is the paper that you can print out. It's 1-to-1 to that foam piece, and it shows you where you score it and where you bevel things. And then once you get all that done, you just kind of fold it into place, test wrap it around the fuselage, and then you start with gluing the bottom piece on, and then just wrap it around, gluing it as you go, and setting it, testing it, doing a little more, and then until you get it all the way around. And it went really well. It actually looks great. It's all a nice piece. You can see there's no blemishes on it. One thing I was worried about was with all the handling, whether my skin oils, my finger oils and all that was going to mar the paint, or I was going to remove paint. But nothing like that happened. This paint is solid. There's not a single mark on it or scuff from all that work getting it around. And the other thing is, if you're using this Yoo-hoo pour, this is the stuff to use. If you do get a little bit on the outside of the fuse, you can just kind of roll it off and it's gone. So you definitely don't want to use Foam Safe CA for that because that's going to get on the outside and mar up the finish. And it's also going to be harder to set the piece in as you work it around. The Yoo-hoo pour gives you time to get things in place. You can see that compound curve in the front right there. So just really nice. The next thing after that was putting on the horizontal stabilizer and the elevator. And the elevator is hinged with these stickers, you guys can see, and they match the paint on the underside. And that's what you see a lot of with this kit. The detail is absolutely astounding, really. They just put so much thought into this. You can see the sticker on the rudder, which blends into it, and that's covering the hinge right there, which is a little plastic hinge. And then you have this tail skid, which is a plastic piece, which just folds in on itself and creates this one tail skid. And it's pretty solid. So just pretty nice stuff. I'll show you guys real quick the sticker sheet. Lots of stickers for the prop, motor. These are for the wing ribs. And let me just show you that real quick because I started work on the bottom wing. So these are the ribs right here. There's another one. And that sticker wraps around that foam piece so it matches the paint on the underside of the wing. And what that little rib does is it sets the under camber of the wing there, and you'll have that on all the wings. This wing is not glued together yet. There's the center piece with these center ribs, and there's this jig right here which helps you set the dihedral. So I'm going to take the jig to the mat, and then I'm going to put the wing on it, get it in position, and glue it in place. Being careful not to glue the wing to the jig. And then once that's set, you'll have the dihedral that you need. And then it's just going to go onto the bottom in the little slot, and it'll look like that once you get it all lined up and glued in place. And this part under here is going to be covered by some other pieces, so this won't show. So you can glue it in and not worry about that. Anyway, that's where we are. So yeah, the Yoo-hoo pour is great for scoring on the fuselage. Really helpful to use a clear ruler so you can see where you're going. You're not covering things up and making it harder for yourself. For most of the parts I use tweezers like this, which you can get from Microaces, to move things around, get things in place, because fingers are a little clumsy. For stickers I like using these kind of tweezers because they just really have a fine point. You can just put the sticker on the very edge and then work it into place, get it where you want, and then you can tap it down with your finger or another pair of tweezers. Surgical blade for cutting things out, much sharper than an X-Acto knife, do wear out a little bit faster, but very useful for building this. Show you guys real quick some of the other foam internals left on the tree. Wing ribs, so I think some wheel parts there, motor parts. And then we have, real quick here, these are the mid-wing and upper wing, and there'll be some, a little bit of washout, I think, put into that upper wing for stability. There it is. Joseph Jacobs 1918 triplane. All this stuff is painted, which is really great. You know, all these plastic parts here, they're all painted. So you can see the struts and everything. You don't have to do any painting on this kit other than the cowl, which you have to cut out to shape, and then this needs to be painted black. It's going to be a black cowl up front. If you do the Red Baron DR1, I think the cowl is white. I'm pretty sure, so you don't actually have to paint anything on that kit. And then we have this little parts bag, which has the firewall, stuff up front, neoprene wheels, some rigging in it, a few more detail parts. I think this is for the motor cylinders, engine cylinders. And then one last parts tree. Things are coming apart. If you haven't worked with U-Hoop before, you've got lots of spare foam pieces around the tree, so before you start, just break off a few little pieces and just practice with it and see what it does. You can get it used to how quickly it sets, how much you need, which is always very little. Just want to use as little as possible, just what you need to get things in place, because it does add weight as you go. But this is going to be a very light airplane once it's all set and done. Alright guys, hopefully I'll get that Wi-Fi working again soon. I can give you updates just on the live streams and not have to do a whole video on it. But there will be more videos of this plane because, like I said, it's really cool. It's coming out great. It's a fun build, and when I look at a build and whether it's good or not, it has to be a build which doesn't have a lot of fiddling. You don't have to do a lot of extra little steps to get things to fit, and I haven't had to do that with this. No extra sanding really, maybe just a few little brushes here and there to get things to line up, but you know, clearly they put a lot of work, a ton of work and thought into these kits in terms of how they fit together and then all the details that go on. Alright guys, that's it. Never stop the RC, and I'll see you guys next time.